What is up, RotoGrinders? Happy Friday, happy Film Friday, happy Boxing Day. Hopefully everybody had a lovely Christmas. Myself and Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides. We're here for the next hour and change until we yield for crunch time. Crunch time coming in around 6:15. You got chief mineralogist Kevin Roth holding it down, as well as Taylor. Taylor's coming in, and Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, 7-gamer for basketball tonight on DK. They did not want to include the two late games. Two late games will be on FanDuel. That's Portland and the Clippers, as well as Detroit and the Jazz. Our slate, kind of a sprint slate on DK. We'll be talking about all the games. We'll touch on the FanDuel stuff, assuming we have time. If not, of course, crunch time is going to knock it out. But, 7 games in that first hour window. Kind of a sprint slate on DK. Tim, happy Friday. How are things?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Dino. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. It was a good Christmas at my house. It's very, very cold where I live. It's like 5 degrees outside. The dogs are very upset. They can't even hardly go outside this time of year. So I mean, it is frosty out here. It is very, very cold where I live right now.
Do you want to know what the temperature is right now currently at Sunrise, Florida?
60.
76.
Man, that sounds so nice. I might have to fly down your way this weekend, Dean, just to feel some fresh air. You know, it's like I don't even dare go outside right now.
If you can wait a week, Tim, we can go to the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers playing the outdoor hockey game in Miami, where the Marlins play against the Rangers. I'm not sure how that's going to work as far as the technology, making sure the ice doesn't melt, but that is planned. That's what's happening. I guess the roof's going to be closed. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But, that should be good times. Probably going to be a disaster. Who knows if the Marlins have anything to say about it. But the Panthers are a much better run organization. I assume it won't be an issue. So 7 games tonight on DK, 9 on FanDuel. What's up, Chad? Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Do all those things. Help us keep the old lights on. Got a lot. I love this slate, by the way. Really, really like this slate. We're talking about this pre-show. Love the early games, too. I might be done after 7 o'clock. I might just chill. But there is still some news to come out. We don't have Scotty Barnes news just yet for Toronto. He's kind of a big deal. He had the fish for Christmas. He is ill. That's going around. All the traveling and different cold spots. Like in the NBA, it seems like every team has like 1 or 2 guys, depending on Philadelphia as well. Had some players that were ill. Also, Colin Murray Boyles is ill, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, but a little bit meaningful because we already have their number 1 center, Jakob Poeltl, out, and that would more than solidify the minutes for Sandro. So Scotty Barnes is questionable. Embiid is questionable too for Philadelphia. His issue, of course, is the knee. The other guys that had the illness, they're all upgraded. That will be Edgecombe and Quentin Grimy. Other stuff as far as questionables, Memphis, it's Cedric Howard is questionable, as is Ja Morant. And otherwise on this slate, I'm trying to see if there's anything that's really, really meaningful. Did I miss any of the I feel like a lot of the stuff has kind of been clarified. I may have flown past it though. What other questions?
We got Ja and Embiid, Scotty Barnes. Those are the 3 big ones. Cedric Howard, I don't know if you mentioned him. There's not a ton. There's not a ton of stuff, but I mean, the stuff that we do have is pretty important. So yeah, I mean, it's not a ton of stuff though. I will say though, you talked about how great these 7 o'clock games are, which they are fantastic. I certainly would not blame anybody if they wanted to be done building their team at 7 o'clock. Just remember, if you are a FanDuel user, it's completely different over there tonight. 9-gamer and the 2 add-on games, the 2 later games that are on that main slate are really important. So that might be where you get kind of your late night hammers in is over on FanDuel, just because, I mean, obviously, you can on DK, but those 2 games are super important for the FanDuel slate is what I should say.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham against the Jazz might be the best play on the slate on FanDuel. He looks pretty awesome. And then both the Clippers, Harden and Leonard are both projecting pretty well against Portland. I don't like those as much, but if you can get to Cunningham on FanDuel, we love the matchup, obviously, against Utah, 244.5 total. They're 10-point favorites. Biggest team total on the board for Detroit, 127. I was looking at the standings, and we were talking about OKC all the time. They only have one loss. Now I think they have 5. And Detroit's not far behind as far as just like total losses. And OKC now is 0-3 against San Antonio. And I was thinking about, I don't want to derail the show, but does this get the Spurs thinking like, hey, they can make a move and trade for somebody? Like, we can beat this team. They obviously have some young pieces, or do they just kind of wait and just keep all their young talent and get even better? And I don't know. I'm curious what the Spurs do come trade deadline time. The Detroit only 6 losses on the season, so only 1 behind OKC, and the Spurs only 2 behind the Thunder, who like just a couple weeks ago were in position to run away with this and possibly have the greatest record of all time. What were the Bulls? 72-10, or is it the Warriors? One of those teams.
I thought it was the Warriors.
Yeah, I think the Warriors beat the Bulls. They beat their record. Maybe the Warriors were 73-9. I'm not sure. They're 1-2, I believe, though. The Warriors and the Bulls back in the day, not the Josh Giddey Bulls, obviously. Yeah. Anything you want to say, big picture, as far as this slate before we dive in and give the people the first clue for today's Film Friday?
Yeah, not really a whole lot to add in terms of big picture. We're still kind of waiting on some of that news. So yeah, I mean, not a ton here. I would say that looking over the sims that I ran, it's getting to a lot of like really, really balanced builds. It's like, obviously we do have some pay up options, but it's kind of that pricing in some of these premier 7:00 games that we'll talk about is very, 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 very balanced looking. So I would say that maybe a way to get kind of different in terms of making some builds is going a little bit more stars and scrubs, maybe going like double premium and fading some of this mid range, just because this mid range is going to be really, really highly owned. I mean, now in single entry you might not be able to do that, but I think that's like a strategy to consider here. When you're building out, let's say 5, 10 or so teams or more teams.
Yeah, the two of us, we hang out in those single entry streets, and we kind of talk to that from that point of view a lot. But and it's going to be, for me, probably a Miami Atlanta stack with some Toronto and some Orlando around it, and I'm probably done. Like maybe a Diabate, maybe we'll see. We'll see all kind of things. Maybe a Mark Williams. Centers today are so good, like the mid-tier centers.
So good. The mid-tier centers are going to be so popular.
Yeah, and like we'll talk about it, but I think Kungwu is just an incredible play on DK because he's going to get squeezed out because you're going to spend less on the guys that project better. You can play him at power forward on FanDuel, so a little easier to make him work. And we'll have that conversation as far as centers today. But yeah, like centers. Khalil Ware is too cheap in the absence of Bam. Diabate is still too cheap in the absence of the Cock. Bobby Portis is center eligible. You probably play him at forward. Sandro, especially on FanDuel where he's 5K, you can only run out one center, but 5K on FanDuel seems ridiculous. He's 5.5 on DK where he still looks pretty good. Mark Williams, we love centers against New Orleans. Yeah, like that grouping and getting that right is a really, really big deal. Getting the right exacta box on DK, I think, is like, if you can get the right exacta box as far as the centers today on DK, you are well positioned. And I even mentioned Joel Embiid, who, if he plays, like, he's another big spend that's just going to be ignored because all the mid-tier stuff is spectacular. I'll give the people the first. If you rank the top 8 points per dollar plays on DraftKings right now, 4 of them are centers. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a 2-center day on DraftKings. I guess that goes without saying. Yes? Yeah, exactly. First clue for Film Friday, get yourself week free of RG Premium. Just jump in that Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. 1 guest per clue drop. The first clue is Texas. Texas is the first clue. Tell me what film I am talking about. This is Texas. rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Most of our Discord channels are free. That is a free one. Should I skip Toronto, Washington in the hopes that we get Toronto news, or we're not going to get news? They're going to give us game time decision. I don't think we're going to get news. I think we should just go for it. Okay. There's 4 7:00 games. That's why I asked. But yeah. Okay. Oh, look at this. Look at producer Steve. Hit the like button for Film Friday. Winner will get 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Wow. 2 weeks. Look at that. Now all of a sudden people are going to be paying attention. You can't put a price on. You could, I guess you can if you did the math and bust out a calculator. But really, 2 weeks free of RG Premium. Get in that Discord channel. Tell me what film I'm talking about on a Friday. Toronto in Washington. Toronto is 6-point favorites here. We mentioned at the top, Scotty Barnes, one of the biggest injuries we are monitoring on the slate. He currently is questionable as he's not feeling particularly well. He had the fish, right? Colin Murray-Boyles also questionable, which doesn't really matter except like if he doesn't play and Pirtle's already out, we might get 30 minutes out of Mamu. Mamu Keller's really already projecting pretty well, but like they would be pretty thin as far as bigs. I guess they would have to introduce Mogbo to their rotation in some way, but not that you're going to play him. Battle, there wouldn't be much. I guess you can go small as well. As far as Washington, Champagny of the Justin variety, I think that was a midday downgrade, if I'm not mistaken, with the illness. So that's never really a good sign. Kispert still has that thumb, so he's not playing. And Whitmore, of course, is out. But yeah, Raptors, Wizards, good matchup for Toronto. And certainly, if then, as far as Scotty Barnes, how do you see things?
Yeah, big, possibly the biggest news of the night right here is with the Scotty Barnes situation. If Barnes were to sit, I mean, you're going to be firing up Brandon Ingram everywhere. You're going to be firing up Emmanuel Quickly everywhere. Mamu everywhere as well. Jamal Shed is already projecting really, really well. And, we don't even have that news yet. So, he would be an absolute top value as well. So this game is really, really interesting. And then if Scotty Barnes plays, I mean, you could play him. I mean, this is obviously a really, really nice matchup. One of the best matchups in all DFS. A 116 team total, which is pretty nice. And it's only a 6-point spread. So I mean, it's like a blowout is not a guarantee here. So they should very well get their full allotment of minutes. So it's definitely it's a really great spot. And I think personally, this is like probably a min 2. Getting to an absolute ton of them.
Is that Barnes out min 2, or even if Barnes is in min 2?
I think even if Barnes is in, that's a min 2. Yeah, you don't agree?
I like it. I'm probably gonna have at least one of my.
You just want so much Miami in your team. You're going like min 4 Miami is what you're saying. So
min 4 Miami, min 4 Atlanta.
You're just gonna go full Heat onslaught is what you're doing. So you can't get in on enough of another team. So I still think I don't know. I mean, when I look at team exposures and Sims, it's obviously the Heat's number 1, but Toronto's not that far behind. They're number 2, and they're not behind by much. So it's super close. I personally think it's a min 2 spot.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say you're wrong. And you're talking about if you run like 100 lineups min 2, or you're talking about if you're making 4 lineups or 1 lineup min 2.
I think it's if you're just making 1.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
If we lose Barnes and Murray-Boyles is an interesting like punt and I would consider playing him with Shed if you want to play kind of the blowout angle, if that's what you're doing. If you think this game's going to somehow fully blow out and Barnes is out, Murray-Boyles and Shed, that's probably more like ambitious, larger field stuff. But as far as the Wizards, do you have any run backs for me on the Washington side?
Not really. I think that this is a below average team on the slate. Getting to some CJ McCollum, I think he would be the one that makes the most sense would be the way to put it. He's 6,500. I think that he does have a reasonable chance to pay off that price tag and maybe get you 35 plus fantasy points. I don't know if Champagny missing here really does a whole lot for me. Maybe it solidifies Koulibaly a little bit. Maybe that would boost him up enough where he would be viable. Maybe Will Riley, maybe. But I don't think the Champagny news is huge here. So I think it's really just CJ McCollum.
I mean, we're only giving Champagny 16 minutes right now anyway, and a couple of guys would get a few extra minutes, basically. They tend to not extend their guys too hard. McCollum's not going to get more. I don't think George is going to get more. It's more about maybe Bub gets a couple more. Maybe Coulibaly gets an extra minute, or Johnson. But Middleton, they kind of keep those guys managed. So I agree with you. I don't think it matters a heck of a lot. That's pretty much where I'm at. Riley.
What about
who cares?
What about maybe Trey Johnson?
He's already projecting okay. But he fights mostly for his minutes behind McCollum and George, though, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I know I'm not saying that about the whole Champagny thing. I'm just saying it as just as like a potential run back instead of going McCollum. Maybe go Trey Johnson.
Okay.
Maybe in like large field stuff. Nothing that I'd be playing in, not in single entry or 3 max. But I think that in large field you could get to some Trey Johnson, especially since he fills that shooting guard spot. So he's point guard, shooting guard, which I like. So I think you could play maybe a little bit of Trey Johnson here.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Like you said, large field only. That's where I would play him, but certainly not in the stuff that we're going to be playing in. Do not think I'm going to consider him. Okay. Just checking out the Discord channel. Did anybody bink it in one? It is not Hell or High Water. That's a great movie. I think it takes place in Texas. It's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre or The Lone Ranger or Interstellar or North Dallas 40. Not Oppenheimer or Friday Night Lights or The Mule. That also plays. Yeah, these are all Texas-based movies, I believe. Dazed and Confused, also a Texas movie. Let's get the people clue number two. Clue number 2. That should be more helpful. It is Unlucky, Texas and Unlucky. That is your second clue. Second game on the slate here, Tim. Well, we talked about it. We teased it. It's the Heat and the Hawks. 250.5. That is what you call a big boy total. Atlanta is a 3.5-point favorite currently. Miami, not only is this game a great environment, but Miami is without some key pieces, notably Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's got that big toe. Bam Adebayo, he's got a back. So neither one of those guys are available to play. Everybody else should be good to go. Jovic available on the injury report with his elbow. Pelly Larson available on the injury report with his ankle. We have Yakachunas is also available too with his ankle. When it comes to Atlanta, Muhammad Gay is available with his shoulder. Porzingis still out with that devastating illness. We've not seen him in a while. Atlanta's pretty healthy. They're pretty healthy. I'm trying to see if anybody else actually matters that's on the injury report. Not really. Okay. Yeah. I was talking about this with you pre-show a little bit. Miami's been playing slower of late, which I thought was interesting. Last 10 games, they've been like the fastest pace in basketball for the entire season, but they're 14th in pace last 10 games. However, their defense has suffered too. They're 17th in defensive efficiency. They're one of the better defensive teams in the league, and their defense has suffered, and they're going slower as well. And Atlanta, last 10 games on the season, they're one of the fastest teams in basketball. Their defense is sketch as well. Last 10 games, 4th lowest. And we were talking about pre-show about Trae Young being back. Probably not, probably more correlation than a coincidence with Young being back. Their defense has certainly taken a hit. So two teams where Bam Adebayo, best defensive player for Miami, is also out. So Miami's defense has been getting worse progressively while getting slower, and they're without their best defensive player. We've seen Jalen Johnson be spectacular. I was looking at the Jalen Johnson, Trae Young on-off stuff, and he does get a hit as far as some of his rates. His usage goes down a little bit. His assist rate goes down, but I still think he's in position. And again, the absence of Bam really, in the minutes these guys, 35, 36, 37 potentially in a matchup against Miami, 127 team total. I love this game. I love this environment. And Miami's pretty thin now, so it's a little bit easier figuring out the pieces. As far as who's starting, we are projecting it to be Jaime Jaquez, as well as Mitchell, Powell, Wiggins, and Ware. I think it could be Fontecchio. It could be Larson instead of Jaquez. Not to say you can't play Jaquez, but I would just note that he still probably plays close to 30 minutes, even off the bench. But are you as excited about Miami, Atlanta as I am?
Yeah, it's pretty hard not to be. It's not every day you see a 250 point total, super, super close spread. Both these teams look absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really. I mean, this is easily the best game on the entire slate. Obviously, getting to tons of Miami here, and it's so easy to. I mean, they're super affordable. No Bam, like you mentioned, really should open things up inside for guys like Khalil Ware, for Andrew Wiggins, for Jaime Jaquez. You did say though, like you don't think that really it's like a huge minutes dock if Jaquez doesn't start though, right, Dean? Like you could still
I don't
play
think
him.
so. You could still play him at 31. If he comes off the bench, he'll probably be like 29.
Yeah, okay. So a very, very small reduction. Getting to more Norman Powell than anyone else on the entire slate right now. I was kind of thinking it would be Khalil Ware. I might flip those, to be honest with you. I might try to get to more Ware than Powell. Not that I'm not saying that Powell's a bad play by any means, but I might kind of try to get to more Ware. I might even just like lock in Ware into my next sim run that I do after I get off the show, just to make sure that I get more of him than I do Norman Powell. But Norman Powell is currently the guy I'm getting the most exposure to. Obviously, fantastic play here. Guys, I think I might go be underweight on are Davion Mitchell. I might come in underweight on Andrew Wiggins as well. Just not somebody that I want to get to in 3-max single entry stuff. So it's mostly Jaquez, Ware, Powell for me. Larson maybe off the bench if I really wanted to squeeze another Heat player onto my roster and get a value piece there. So I think Larson is okay off the bench. I think he'd obviously be fine as well if he started. On the other side of the ball, I will just say really quick, Trae Young on FanDuel is a really good price. That 8,400, yeah, 8,400 on FanDuel. I do like that price. 88 on DK is okay as well, but he's not going to be owned either way. Pretty good leverage off the chalkier Jalen Johnson, who he gets a big time upgrade, not having to deal with Bam all game. So that's obvious. He's always a really strong play. Dean mentioned Okongwu at the top of the show as a really nice center pivot on this slate where we have some really strong centers. He would be good leverage off Khalil Ware, good leverage off of some of those chalky centers. So there are really strong GPP plays on Atlanta. Miami is the safer, more optimal side. I would be getting to min 2 of Miami here.
Yeah, I'm going to play at least 2 Miami in every lineup. You mentioned Larson. I just want to mention he's been in really bad form and he's dealing with an ankle. I don't want to say I need him starting, but I kind of want him starting. I guess this game could blow out and he would sort of mop potentially, but he's been shooting much less. If you look at his usage his last so many games, he's just going in the wrong direction. I just to be the game log guy, less than 10 fantasy points his last 4 games. Obviously, I know there's a little bit more of an opening with the absence of Bam, but and his price has decreased too, and he's now in the 3s on DK. So in the pool, look, our projection team does an excellent job. I feel like Powell's a little hot. His projection feels a little hot to me. We 7-1 on DK, 44 as a median projection, and I'm not even counting the decimals. I was running the stuff as far as court IQ and kicking off, Bam and Hero, and I want to see. We do get a 2.4% bump in usage, so that's nice. And he's clearly the top usage guy, over 30%. Jaquez 23% for what it's worth. And then Ware at 17, he's more a compiler out. He doesn't necessarily get a ton of shots off, and it's putbacks and 3s. Mitchell's not a big shooter as well, more of a distributor, so it's got to go somewhere. But I like Powell a lot, and he's one of my favorite plays. But I still think that's a pretty hot projection. Almost 45 DK is a median. Are you seeing the same thing as me, or is that just me?
No, I'm seeing it.
No, I mean, you see it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying when we started talking about this game. Is like I would maybe try to flip to get to more Ware. That way, I get less Powell in Sims. I might lock in Ware. I might dock Powell as well. Just so I can maybe get a little bit less of him, just because I think that we are a little bit hot. So yeah, I completely agree with that. I might lower it to something like 40, or 39, just so I get
lineups.
Yeah, no, I know he's still going to hit a ton, and I'm not saying not to play him, but I'm just saying like if I was making a portfolio of teams, I would probably maybe get like 30% Powell and maybe like 45-50% Ware. That's honestly what I would do.
Yeah, and just to be clear, chat saying I said that the projection team is bad. I was not saying that. I was just saying I was really surprised to see that projection. I was surprised to see that projection on Powell. I like him plenty, but I guess the field's going to love him too. At that projection, he seems like, if nothing else, a cash game play. We currently have it almost 50% on DK, and is that the most popular player we currently have? It is. Haka is number 2 for what it's worth. Ware number 5. A little bit trickier. I wouldn't say trickier, but he's also power forward eligible, but Ware is more expensive, distinctly more expensive on FanDuel. But, you can also get 5 or 6 stocks out of him that can more than make up the difference in the asking price. And, if he's going to be lower owned over there, and he will because of the price, I like him. And Jalen Johnson, when I was doing my write-ups earlier today, we had Jalen Johnson at like 10%, 12% in tournaments, Tim. And I was like, man, that's awesome. It's now up to like 26%. On DK, the closer we get to lock, the more refined these numbers gets. But I'm still interested in Trae Young. If he's going to be 3% or even close to 3%, 32 minutes is our projection. The minutes limit is basically off on him, and you like shooting threes against Miami. I think he's really, I'm going to have one of Johnson, Trae, or Okongwu in every lineup. Like that goes without saying.
Exactly. I think that's a really good take. I really like Trae Young tonight. I really like him on FanDuel, where he's even cheaper. He's 8,400 over there. I know that you don't get the 3-point bonus, but still, I just like that price. He played 31 minutes last game, and this is the game of the night here. So anytime you get somebody like that at that low of ownership, I think it's fantastic. So you don't have to play Jalen Johnson. He's the safest one, but he's also the most expensive. I really do like Okongwu and Trae Young tonight for GPP.
And the other thing, Tim, if we're playing the single entry stuff that we like to play, and the chalk tends to congregate, you got to do something different, at least a little bit different. And if I'm going to be playing a Miami Atlanta stack with pieces of Toronto, it's like, well, isn't that what everybody's doing to some degree? Most everybody,
if you're going to be getting to Min2 Toronto, Min2 Miami, you're playing into a ton of ownership. Like you got to be hunting for some contrarian ceiling somewhere, and I think that's going to be Atlanta.
Well, that's the point. Yeah, the point is, if all you got to do to be different is just play Trae Young or Okongwu, who are both great. It's just they're both awesome plays. So like that's, you got to play one or two of those. Like that's all I have to do to make a distinctly different lineup. I'm in on that, and it might cost me Jalen Johnson, which is kind of a bummer. Which it might. We'll see. Chat's asking if we is it a must to play Powell in single entry on DK? I wouldn't call it a must.
I don't think it's a must, but it's pretty close. It's definitely going to be a scary fade because in single entry he's going to be 60%. I would imagine 65%. I mean, it depends on the dollar amount, but he's going to be really, really highly owned. I don't think he's a must, but it's close.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you absolutely have to. There's certainly a scenario where he puts up like 32 fantasy points, or it's like whatever, it doesn't hurt you.
At that ownership, I'd say if he stays under 40, it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah. By the way, I guess I was too kind with my clues today. Two people guessed today's Film Friday on the second clue was a game of like who got there faster, and one of the best in the business, Peterman 79 took it down again. We'll continue with the clues just for fun, but we got it in 2. The third clue is true. So Texas, unlucky, true. And I'm being told that apparently I've recycled this one. I've done it before, which I didn't know. I was doing
unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I guess I ran out of movies in my head. I'm not really sure what happened, but apparently I've done this one before. And I don't have an archive. I should make an archive and I should make a book one of these days, I suppose. I should be compiling these. I'll have to go through all my messages with Steve and TJ over the years, just sending them all the clues. But all right, are we done with Miami and Atlanta?
I'm trying to figure out what the movie. Oh, there it is. All right, yeah.
Are you in the Discord channel? Are you cheating?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I made it too easy, I guess, at least for 2 people. Just give me this. Give me your favorite play, all things considered, both sides of this game. Miami, Atlanta, favorite play on both sides.
Khalil Ware, Trae Young.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. We get any news by chance? I don't think so, right? No news coming in? I don't see it.
Nope.
Third game in the 7:00 window. It's Charlotte and the Magic, 228. That's the total here. Orlando is a 2-point favorite as far as who's in and who's out for this one. Nothing really new, right? Cockburner's still out for Charlotte. Plum Dog is still out with his groin. Gogo Wataze was ruled out for Orlando, and Tristan Da Silva is expected to be available. He was upgraded with his shoulder. All the Wagners are still out, Moritz and Franz, as well as Jalen Suggs, who was doubtful earlier today. Now he's officially out. This is another good spot. Diabate is still too cheap. He's going to get all the minutes he can handle with the absence of both Cockburner and Plum Dog. Bain projects well. Banchero projects better. Just you can't. There's so many good spots here. I like Orlando a good bit, and I like Diabate as far as the price. How do you feel about Orlando and Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously another really, really good game. I think that it is not nearly as good as the two previous games that we discussed. This is a game where I'm going to be, I guess, a little bit bearish on kind of like what optimals want you to do. Currently, our number one optimal for DraftKings has both Paulo Banchero and Wendell Carter Jr. in it. I get it. They're both really good plays. Obviously, Banchero, he's been pretty solid, but he's also had some not so great games. And I don't personally want to play him in my single entry team. I get it if people want to. And also, center's so strong. I don't really love Wendell Carter. Like I know Goga is out, but I don't love him today. Again, I don't think he's going to be in my single entry team. So I guess I'm just going to kind of play a little bit bearish here on this Orlando team. We are giving like 2 or 3 minutes to PJ Hall. That's not huge deal for Diabate, but that is somebody that might take a couple minutes from him. Center's so strong here, but boy, he's such a good value. Like they need to raise his price. Like this is getting, this is now a third game where he's just been way too cheap. I'd rather go down to him, save the 900 than play Wendell Carter, pay up somewhere
100%.
else. That's personally what I would do. So yeah, I mean, I think Diabate is fantastic. I really do like him a ton here. So I think he's the cash game guy. So that's, he and Ware is who I would start with for cash game centers on TK. Like we already talked about how strong center is. He would definitely be in my cash games today. So Diabate is fantastic. Outside of that, though, really nobody for Charlotte. I don't think. It's really you. I guess you could play Miller and GPP, but that would really be it for me. And then Orlando, I'm bearish on Wendell Carter and I'm bearish on Banchero. We've gotten some questions in chat about Tyus Jones. No, I don't know. I mean, he's had 2 back-to-back good games, but I don't love it here. Like I think we have projected for 14 minutes. No, we have it for 23 minutes, but still 14 fantasy points. I don't know. I don't really love that much. I think there are better plays today.
He was 4 for 6 from 3 last game against Portland. I don't think that's going to repeat. He's probably not going to get 7 assists as well. I mean, you caught him on the right night if you played him last time out, but yeah, there's not a lot of ceiling there. He's probably not going to make multiple threes for you. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not in on Carter. Like, what is Carter's ceiling game? Because he's not a good stock guy for a center. He's not a good 3-point shooter. He might give you 1, but you're rarely going to get the game where he hits 3 or 4 or 5 to get that ceiling. You're begging to get to a double-double as far as the rebounds, which he's got a decent chance of that, but he's not a great scorer. He's basically a 2-category guy. He's not an assist man as a center. So, like, what does a ceiling game look like for Wendell Carter? He's got to put up like 18 and 15 and with a couple threes mixed in there, right?
I'm not seeing Wendell Carter's ceiling here. That's why I don't love it here. And I think Diabate's floor is fantastic as well. So I'd rather just save the money. So I'm like, I don't even think I'm going to be playing Carter in cash.
No, I wouldn't play. We talked about the centers before, and like I prefer, salaries are somewhat a little bit different, right? But I prefer Ware. I prefer Diabate. I prefer Mamukelashvili. I prefer Mark Williams. As far as your cash game center, I think it's two of those. And you're playing Bobby Portis probably at forward. How much do you have your lineup? Do you have a shell lineup for cash? Is Portis in it at a forward spot? Maybe.
So he's the player. Another player that I'm kind of struggling with. I think that you should be playing Portis in cash games. I'm struggling with him more from like the single entry perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean he's going to be playing a ton of minutes. That whole game though is kind of. We'll talk about it, Dean. Let's not spoil it for the people. Colin Murray-Boyles is in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we get a Barnes update or just one update?
I think that's the only update we got.
That's up. Oh, Barnes is in. I see Barnes in.
Barnes is in. Okay.
Yeah, both are in.
Yeah, Barnes is in.
Okay. How many minutes do we have projected for Murray-Boyles? Out of curiosity, is it close to 20? Is it like the remaining minutes from Sandro?
21.
Yeah. Large field stuff. He's not nuts. He's not nuts in large field stuff. I probably wouldn't play him with Sandro. I probably would play those. I would separate those guys. I think I would cap that at 1. If you're feeling ambitious in tournaments, and again, not the worst idea to pair him with Shed in tournaments. I don't think if you're expecting a potential blowout here. Okay, moving along. Yeah.
Yep.
The last of the 7:00 games, it's Boston and the Pacers. 222.5 is the total. Boston is an 8-point favorite in Indiana. Who's in and who's out for this one? Boucher is out for personal reasons. That doesn't really matter. Jordan Walsh is available with his illness. Boston basically is fully healthy. The Pacers, nothing really new here. Well, Shepard's still out. Obi Toppin's out. Isaiah Jackson out. Naismith is out. This is one of my least appealing games in the slate for me as far as Boston and the Pacers. Of course, you can always play Jaylen Brown. You can always play Derek White if you want to. I don't really like this game. You want to change? You like anything here? You want to change my mind?
I was just gonna ask you if we need a catch me up game, because this is definitely one where I'm just getting to practically nobody from this game. Getting maybe a little bit of Derek White, getting to about 10% of him and Sims. It's definitely it's pretty ugly. From a team exposures point of view, getting to basically none of the Pacers, absolute last overall of all the teams on the DK slate. Pacers are coming in last for me in terms of exposures and Sims. So really nobody from Indiana. Maybe a little bit of Derek White. Like you said, you can always play Jaylen Brown, and then that's it. Like in 3 max stuff, this game is a complete exclude for me.
I would just note, Luka Garza has seen a big spike in minutes of late. We're always talking about how fluid the big situation is for Boston. 24 and 26 minutes the last 2, 24 versus the Pacers. Qualifier, though, is we love a lot of centers that are really well priced. It just doesn't feel like the right slate, But if you want to tell yourself a story, you want to be a little bit different in tournaments, and this could change on a dime for Boston, but he's been on the right side of the minutes there for the Celtics when it comes to their bigs. Minot on the wrong side. I'm not playing enough lineups. If you're playing 150, if you want to get a pinch of Garza, I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. Our guy Lippy in chat is asking if he can play his dude Pascal. He can. I'm not. He can. I won't. I just think there's better places to go. But is there a world where Pascal drops 50 plus, which he kind of has to at his price? Sure. But I'm not doing it. It doesn't sound like you are either.
I'm not doing it. I can't. I can't do
that. Fourth clue. We're still playing out the string. Is issue for Film Friday. Texas unlucky. True issue. That is our first 4 clues. We already have a winner, but we're just playing it out for fun. Just a few more days left of free Pick Labs. Pick Labs, the newest feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick'ems. In just seconds. Everything is broken down for you. Edges, win rates, the value. It's a clean board. It is actually a very clean board. You can jump from site to site, whichever one works for you. Sports books, as well as Underdog and Prize Picks. And when it's something you like, it'll just go ahead and build it for you and take you to that site. Pick Labs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. Right now, you can try Pick Labs absolutely free through December 28th. So still a couple more days to get a taste. That's rotogrinders.com/picklabs. rotogrinders.com/picklabs. Yeah, go ahead. Give it a whirl. Try it out for free until the 28th. Next game up on the board. We're done with the 7 o'clock games. Philadelphia and Chicago, which is a kind of a good game, but it's a little bit lost for me. I'm a little afraid to not have enough of this. 241.5 is the total here, Tim. Chicago, it's high and tight. They're just 1.5 point dogs. We don't know about Embiid. I think he's going to play. You never really know. It is the front half of the Amazon Prime doubleheader, and these Prime and Netflix are angry enough about the football slates. They'll be so bad if they don't get Joel Embiid. I think he's going to play.
Is that your reasoning? Is that those are your official tea leaf takes?
Well, he's also been well rested, right? We haven't seen him in a while, but you never really know. It is the front half. Wait, is it the front half for Philadelphia? I don't think so. Atlanta, Chicago, Indiana, Miami, Milwaukee, the Pels, Orlando, Phoenix, Utah. New Orleans and Phoenix, by the way, playing the same game tomorrow night. We'll talk about that game in a second, but they're going to be running it back tomorrow. So it's an island game as well. He's not playing against Joker, so he's not going to bail out at the last second. I don't know if you saw Joker on Christmas, but good Lord, amazing.
Man, oh man. I think I won a low ball tournament for NBA yesterday.
There was a lot of snowflakes.
Pretty sure I won. I won the low ball.
There was a lot of football snowflakes too. Like both scores were pretty low.
Football wasn't horrible for me, but basketball was a joke.
My main lineup had up like 4 or 5 snowflakes when we got there because we had Turbin, Dak, and Minnesota defense. That's like all you needed, I guess.
Oh, I thought you meant you got there for NBA. I was like, how'd you get there in NBA?
Oh, NBA.
4 or 5 snowflakes. Yeah, no, NFL, you could definitely get there with some snowflakes. Yeah, NBA. Yeah, I did not. I played AD, and I didn't have Jokic.
He got hurt. Yeah, and I also slept on the. This is practice what you preach. The Tari Eason starting thing. I didn't pivot to Tari Eason, and then that was a clear you're a dope if you didn't do that. I was a dope.
I was already dead at that point.
Yeah, I was kind of checked out at that point too, but still that was the move. And he smashed, but not fully because the game ended up blowing out. Okay, Bulls, Sixers, Embiid is officially questionable. Edgecombe was upgraded to probable. Barlow was probable. All these guys were ill, right? Quentin Grimes was ill. Oubre's still out, but they are about as healthy as they've been in a while. The Bulls, Patrick Williams is questionable. Another guy with an illness doesn't really matter because he's been kind of booted out of that rotation for the most part. And otherwise, Chicago is fully healthy amongst the players we care about. Bulls, Sixers, what do you got?
So you kind of talked about Philly usually waits till the last second. Is that right? Or is that not traditionally what they do?
We're probably at 7 o'clock going to get Embiid in the starting lineup or not in the starting lineup. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. So, do we need to save one of these really amazing center spots for Drummond? I think that's the question. That's the question because he's priced right around these guys like with Diabate, Wendell Carter, Ware, he's right there. He's 5,900 or 5,800. So he's right there. We have an if then set up for if Embiid is out. If Embiid's out, we're giving Drummond 30 fantasy points, 27 minutes. It's not amazing, but it's kind of right around these other guys. So I think that might be an interesting way to build. Like if you kind of save that spot for potential, if Embiid sits, maybe get Drummond at a fraction of the ownership of some of these chalkier centers. So I think that's something to consider. It's definitely going to help Maxey and Paul George quite a bit if Embiid sits. So I think that's kind of important as well. So it's kind of like how do you want to rate these guys if Embiid sits compared to these chalkier centers, compared to these spend up plays for Toronto, for Miami, for Atlanta. I really liked Maxey all season. I don't mind getting to him if Embiid sits. The problem is what do you do if Embiid plays? Like, do you want to be stuck in this game with Embiid? I think that's the hard part. Then you kind of have to backtrack and build into this Milwaukee game or this Phoenix game. So it's kind of tough. I do think that leaving a spot for Drummond is super interesting because you're going to get him potentially at really low ownership.
I think it's an interesting thought. I probably won't have the center spots left.
Right. Nobody will.
Because I'm probably going to be playing two of Okongwu, Ware, Sandro. You can play him at power forward. Diabate. I probably won't have it. And it's not that Drummond is like 4K, right? And I also believe, and I don't know this, but I believe Embiid's going to play. So, I mean, in my head, it's like a 20% chance it happens, meaning Embiid doesn't play. But, like, I love the thought, and it really could pay off for you. And Drummond's a guy that can drop 20-20, right, against his old team here. We love the environment. We love the matchup here against Vuk. I didn't consider it because I just thought Embiid's going to play, but I like the thought. But I don't make enough lineups, and most of my spots are going to be already claimed. It's an interesting idea. And also Embiid's kind of interesting. I thought that was the route you're going. I think Embiid's kind of interesting too.
I definitely think it's interesting. I think if I do pay up at center though, it might be Okongwu.
Yeah.
But I do think Embiid's interesting. I think he's very interesting.
Yeah. Because I don't think Okongwu is going to get a ton just because this is more of a DK thing because he's not power forward eligible like he is on FanDuel. But I think he kind of falls, to the other mid-tier cheap stuff. We'll still talk about Mark Williams, another potential cheap center that's in the mix. So I don't think people are going to play Embiid for the same reasons. Like, there's so many good stops along the way.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Derek and chat, made a really good point. You could put in Drummond, and if that doesn't work out, just play Williams. That's your fault. That's your fallback piece right there.
Yeah, you could do that. That's not a terrible idea. Yeah. By the way, speaking of Williams, Patrick Williams available for Chicago and Champagnie available for Washington. I don't think that stuff matters a lot, but did want to clean that up. Did you give a take on the Bulls?
Not really. They're obviously, Josh Giddey's fantastic for GPPs. Probably not somebody that I'm going to be getting to in single entry or 3 max, but I think he definitely has a ceiling. Like, he's been completely fine with Kobe White back. So, I mean, that's not really been a huge issue. I could see definitely building a little game stack this game just because it's going to be contrarian, because so much ownership is going to be going towards those 7:00 games. I think this is an interesting contrarian game. Vucevic is okay at 6'7", just center. We've talked about so many centers tonight. Like, this is such a big time center slate. Yes, he can pay off that price tag pretty easily. Like, he's okay. I think there's other centers that I prefer. So it's really just Giddey, Vucevic. I think honestly, that's it.
Yeah, I keep waiting for the Kobe White ceiling game. And what's weird with Kobe White, his biggest game of the year was when he played his first game back. He played 30 minutes against Utah. Not surprising against Utah, but he put up 46 DK points that game. His second biggest game of the year, his second game versus Portland, 41.8. His third biggest, his fourth game against New Orleans. But like since then, he just has not really flashed the ceiling. He's not going to get any blocks for you. His rebounds are basically non-existent. I shouldn't say that. He'll rebound the ball. Yeah. They're not good. 3, 4. He's got to get there with points is the point. And we just have not seen that in a while. Not saying it can't happen, but we saw it right at the gate. And then, he's been disappointing essentially ever since. Okay, let's scoot along. Milwaukee and the Grizz, 226.5. That's the total. The Bucks are 4.5 point dogs here. We don't know. You think this would be a bigger deal. We don't know about John Morant, who's officially questionable. Cedric Howard's also questionable. Brandon Clark is still out. Edie's still out. Jerome, Pippen, Vince Williams. Milwaukee, Antetokounmpo is not playing basketball. No Prince. Gary Trent was downgraded today with his calf. We are expecting Porter, AJ Green, who's been bad since going back from injury, Kuzma, Portis, and Miles Turner, who, he's another guy. Like where is the ceiling on Miles Turner? They keep dropping the price on him, but he's been just no ceiling, right? He's been pretty disappointing all season long. Even for the Bucks, I'm sure they're probably regretting that signing. 4 years, was it? It was a good chunk of years. Yeah, we touched on Portis in passing earlier, projecting as the best play in this game, assuming he continues to start. Yeah, Porter has been awesome, but like the price has caught up with him. If Ja Morant is out, how much do we care? Which is a weird question to ask, but I guess Wells would get a boost.
I was going to say, like, you might want to save a spot for him because he would project really, really well from a points per dollar point of view. We'd be giving him 32 minutes and 34.5 fantasy points as a median projection at 5,300. That's pretty strong. So I think that news is pretty important. Gigi Jackson.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at 4K again. I mean, I think that's somewhat important here.
That's Coward related.
That's Coward. Yeah, exactly. That's if Morant and Coward are both out. Then Wells and Jackson would be definitely viable, but especially Jalen Wells. I mean, I think that's a pretty important piece of news to consider here. So. He would be a very, very strong. He'd be a strong play for cash. He'd be a strong play for GPPs. Whatever format you're playing, he would be a really good play. If Memphis is fully healthy, though, I don't really have much interest here. The only interest that I'd have would be on the other side of the ball, and that would be Bobby Portis, who's going to be the cash game power forward, 5,900. I think he's okay in GPPs. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be playing him in single entry. He's kind of in a 2v2 that I'm kind of playing around with right now, so I'm not 100% yet. I still think there's meat on the bone for Kevin Porter Jr. at 9K, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think he's one of those contrarian pieces that is not going to be showing up much at all in optimizers, but somebody that definitely has a ceiling. So you could lump him into that, Giddey, Tyrese Maxey kind of tier of plays that I think you can get at incredibly low ownership tonight.
His minutes have been outrageous too. 38, 37, 40 the last three. He played 30 in the game before that, but that was because it was like a 45-point blowout on the wrong side of it against Brooklyn. But, he's got triple-double potential with scoring like 20 points potential. Yeah, and again, my issue is I just don't know if I have enough spots for it. I don't. Was it last slate? Not Thursday. Maybe it was Wednesday where we got the surprise Gigi Jackson start at 3K, and he looked pretty good. And that was in the absence of Coward. He's now 4K on DK, which still, if we happen to lose Morant and Coward and Jackson happens to get the start, he would still project pretty solid. We've seen some ceiling games out of Santi Aldama of late as well. Yeah, But again, like you said, a lot of it's contingent upon Morant and Coward being out. And if they're both in, I think I'm fine just completely being away from the game entirely, at least on the Memphis side. I saw the chats talking about playing Ja. Like he'll almost definitely have a minutes limit, right? We haven't really seen him hit his assumed ceiling essentially all season long. It's been a while if we have. Last time out, 11 days ago, you played 21 minutes. Now that was a win by 18.
We're giving him 25.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think he plays much more than 25 no matter what. So I'm having a hard time getting excited about it. And I also want to say as far as Memphis and Milwaukee.
Nope.
Crunch time coming in 15, 20 minutes or so. You got Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, as well as Kevin Roth. Additionally, Taylor is coming on. Going to take you guys home on Crunch time. They'll probably talk about any news that's dropping that doesn't drop on our show. Maybe we'll get the Scotty Barnes news. No, we already got it. He's in. We'll get the Embiid news. Maybe. That's probably coming at the bell at 7 o'clock. The last game on the DK slate, Tim, Suns, New Orleans. Again, we said this is a sprint slate. We said this is the front game of a back-to-back. They're playing again tomorrow night. 241.5 is the total. New Orleans are 5.5-point dogs here. As far as who's in and who's out, Grayson Allen still has that knee, so he's not playing. Jordan Goodwin is available with his jaw, as well as Jalen Green being still out with that hamstring for a while. Jordan Poole was upgraded today. He was questionable earlier. He's officially available and probable with his ankle. Herb Jones still out with his ankle. Besides Herb, though, they are as healthy as they're going to be for a while. We haven't seen DeJounte Murray all season long. We saw McGowan step up last game and have a pretty good game for the Pels. We're still projecting him to start. Zion and Poole to come off the bench. Zion seems to be accepting this role, and that it seems to be working for them, having him be like a six-man du jour. Suns, Pels, we've kind of hinted at a couple times at Mark Williams being a good value play. He's one more center. If you needed one more center value play, it's Mark Williams. How you feel about the Suns and the Pelicans?
Yeah, I mean, outside of the kind of the 7 o'clock games that we already talked about, outside of like Miami and Toronto, Atlanta, I'm getting to tons of Phoenix here in Sims, getting to tons of Colin Gillespie, getting to tons of Mark Williams, getting to some Dylan Brooks, some Royce O'Neal, some Devin Booker. I mean, this is obviously a fantastic spot here for the Suns with a 122 implied team total. Pretty close spread as well. So I think getting to some Suns here is a really good idea. It's hard to say that Mark Williams is my favorite because it's just, again, we've talked about so many centers here. But I mean, points per dollar wise, he probably is the favorite. I like Colin Gillespie a ton here. I just think this is a really good matchup. I think he kind of fits that build that we kind of like tonight in optimals, like kind of that balanced mid-range build. 6,400. He's point guard, shooting guard as well. He's going to be popular, but not like super popular. As of a few minutes ago, our last ownership update, he was 17%. So I think his ownership is really reasonable here. So I think Colin Gillespie is probably my favorite play, at least for GPPs, like larger field stuff, whereas Mark Williams is more for single entry cash game type stuff.
Running down the ownership stuff, taking a peek. Williams 18%, Gillespie 17%, as you're talking about. Royce O'Neal, he's never a fun click, but he can really get you there if he's on the right side of his threes and stocks. 18%. The other side, New Orleans, Bay is the most popular guy at 15%, who's like fine. Murphy's fine. Fears is fine. Probably not going to get 30 minutes. I do think Booker is interesting at 10%. I just don't think I'm going to have I don't think I'm going to wait out for it, unfortunately. But I don't think I can get there. 10% ownership for him is super interesting, but I'd rather just go down to Gillespie. I believe the Pelicans give up the most threes per game.
I think they do.
So they do. I mean, and that's why it's a good little spot there for Royce O'Neal as well. And Booker can certainly bang 6 or 7. It wouldn't be 6, 7. I did the thing. Is that still a thing, Tim? You're on the hot button. Is that all the rave, or is that over now?
What's that? 6, 7?
Yeah. Is that?
I don't think so. I haven't heard it for a little bit, but who knows? I might not.
Has your child ever mentioned it?
I may not have been paying attention either.
That's today's poll question. Is 6, 7 still a thing? There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Let me know in chat. Is 6, 7 still a thing? All right. Did you knock out the Pelicans? I feel like you talked mostly Phoenix.
I really didn't discuss the Pelicans that much. I really don't like anybody. I guess Sadiq Bey is okay, but honestly, I'd have to be building out probably 10 or more lineups before I'd be getting to any Pelicans here. This slate is super strong. There's a lot of good plays. I don't really see a reason to be building into the Pelicans here.
Boss Bro in chat saying Google 6, 7 and watch what it does. Now you're making me nervous. It's like Googling Fournier back in the day. Never Google Evan Fournier. Mr. Richard says I hear it every day at school. I think Mr. Richard's a teacher, so
he is.
Yeah, so maybe the kids are still saying it. I'm not really sure. Maybe the kids just vote and let us know. We have our demographics. Lots of kids out there watching for sure. Big DFS fans. Let us know if that's still a thing. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it against better judgment. I'm going to Google 6, 7. What could possibly go wrong? Like what could possibly happen? Oh my God. Steve, you got to show the people what it does. I did not know that was happening. Steve, do you know this? You know what happens when you click 6-7 in the Google? I'm not sure if we can get Steve to do a little bit of
I think the screen moves, right? Let me try and get it.
Yeah. Well, spoiler, but yeah, I didn't know. That tripped me out. Oh man, I'm getting like vertigo or something. That was pretty trippy. Okay. Maybe we can show the people, or maybe not. Either way, we have time. 10 minutes until crunch time comes in, and we'll talk about the 2 FanDuel games here in just a second. There you go.
Wow.
Look how hip Google is. So I guess at least it's still a thing with Google, I suppose. All right. Let's talk about the FanDuel. Oh, you know what? 5th clue. We never gave the 5th clue for today's Film Friday. We do have a winner, so we're just playing out the string for fun. But the 5th clue, not that anybody needs it, because it was too easy. I put it on easy mode today, despite the fact you're giving away 2 individual weeks. The 5th clue was Rocky. So Texas, unlucky, true, issue, and Rocky. That was your 5 clues for today's Film Friday. What news are we getting here? Nothing of note as far as this slate. Edwards, that's Anthony Edwards is questionable for Saturday. Okay, is he going to be questionable every game going forward now? Barlow, Grimes, and Edgecombe all officially in for Philadelphia. And guess what? No update on Joel Embiid, right? Screw that. No Embiid update. Let's talk about the FanDuel slate again. There's 2 more games here. FanDuel's including an hour and a half later. Detroit at Utah. Detroit, one of the biggest team totals on the board on FanDuel. We touched at the top how good Cade Cunningham is positioned against the Jazz. We love picking on Utah. They are 10-point favorites as far as who's in and who's out for Utah and Detroit. Ronald Holland is questionable. That's basically it. So that's kind of the problem with Detroit right now. They're too healthy, which hurts some of the ceiling on some of these players. As far as the Jazz, Oscar Tshiebwe is at least available. I can't promise you he's going to play, but Oscar Tshiebwe is available. It is the front end of a back-to-back for Utah, and they play the Spurs tomorrow night. If they're going to pull any shenanigans, they probably pull it tomorrow. But typically they let their guys more likely to play against the teams that are going to beat them anyway. But that's most teams anyway. Nurkic expected back. Markkanen is expected in. So Filipowski, you got to push back on his projection after thriving in the absence of some of their bigs. How do we feel about Detroit and Utah?
Yeah, I love Detroit here. I'm getting to a ton of Asar Thompson at 6,100. I think he can be like maybe not a core play, but I think he's pretty darn close. I think you want to get to one of these Pistons here on your FanDuel lineup. So Asar Thompson is definitely the best, points per dollar guy. If you have the salary, obviously Cade Cunningham is in a fantastic spot here. He's going to be popular, but not overwhelmingly. At 10-7. So, he's going to be, it's such a amazing matchup for him. Like if this game can somehow stay close, if he can get his full allotment of minutes, he should absolutely crush here. So, if you want to play both Cade and Asar, I don't hate that. But I would be getting to at least one of those guys. Getting to some Duren here. Again, though, center's so strong tonight. I can't honestly get to that in single entry. So probably just a large field GPP play for me. On the other side of the ball for Utah, Isaiah Collier maybe 5,300. I think he's okay, especially if you're playing 2 Pistons. I think he can be your run back. Getting to some Ace Bailey at 5,100. But I wouldn't be playing more than one Utah guy in the same lineup. So I would just go with one of Collier or Bailey as my run back. And I think that's really it on the Utah side.
You mentioned Duren. It's just tough with centers. He's center and center only. We did see a couple ceiling games of late, which was nice to see because he had I don't want to say a rut, but he had a string of games where he wasn't exactly getting you home. Wasn't necessarily hurting you, but not necessarily somebody you wanted either. But 250 burgers essentially against Portland and Sacramento. And the minutes are a little bit of a pinch there these days. 28-minute projection. Nurkic is a big boy to tussle with down low as well. I think he's fine, but I do agree with you. Probably not somebody I would prioritize on this slate. We will talk about the last game on the FanDuel slate. Do want to tell the people about today's Film Friday. You pieced it together, right, Tim? Or you cheated? You looked and see what
I cheated. Yeah. I wanted to know who you did a repeat movie of. I was very curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wasn't intentional. I guess subconsciously. I was going to go with something else, and I'll tell you what the something else was in a second. But then in the process, I switched and like, oh, I can just do this because I was thinking that'd be a good clue for that movie. I'm like, oh, let me just do that movie. That's easy. And I guess that's how it happened the first time too. I'm not really sure. Texas was the first clue. One of the famous lines in this movie is in reference to a city in Texas. I was going to say Texan. I was going to go with Texan as in the Houston Texans, but the reference was basically Houston. 2 is when the people got it. Several people got it. Unlucky, that's probably too easy. What's the unluckiest number according to some people? 13. Do they still build hotels without, doing the 13th floor? Is that still a thing?
That's a good question.
It used to be a thing. Is that still a thing? Like, would you? Sure. I'm not judging or anything, but would you be okay going in the 13th floor, like at your hotel? Would you take the key, or would you ask?
Yeah. No, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, whatever. Give me the 13th floor. I'll take a chance. Sure, why not? What's the worst that can happen? The third clue was true, meaning this was a true story. Fourth clue, issue. I kind of doubled down on the same line. Probably the most popular line in this movie. Houston, we have a problem. A problem is an issue is a problem. And then originally I was going to go with Creed. And so I was going to use Rocky. And I'm like, oh, I can still use Rocky because of Apollo 13. This, of course, is Apollo 13. So you know what? I saw footage of a space shuttle earlier today, and maybe subconsciously that's where my brain went. I went to Apollo 13 because the movie's like, I don't know, 30 years old. Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Apollo 13 and Ron Howard. I hear some dogs barking. Is that what we got? Some dogs, Tim? Is that what's happening over there?
Yeah, we have some dogs going nuts here, but they should be calm now. They're all good.
Did they get like a steak or anything special for Christmas? You fire up a steak for them or something? What do you do for an animal? Some people buy their pets. Not much frowning if you don't, but some people do this. They also dress them up. If that's your thing. But do the pets get anything special for Christmas?
I gave him some ham. Because it was Christmas.
This is like a honey baked ham or like a sliced ham? What are we talking about?
Honey baked.
Oh, there you go. All right. So they were happy? They were satisfied?
Some of that brown sugar glazed with the pineapple on top.
Oh, man. Homemade?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you're sneaky good, I bet as a cook. At least on the meats. I feel like that's your specialty. Am I correct in that assumption?
Not really.
Italian.
Not really. Yes, Italian, definitely. Yeah. The pasta stuff. Yeah.
All right, let's knock out the Clippers and the Blazers. Crunch time knocking on the door. They'll be here shortly. Clippers, they are favored. 3-point favorites in Portland tonight. 227 is a total. This is, again, only on the FanDuel slate. Bradley Beal, I don't know why I mentioned him, but he's not playing basketball for the foreseeable future. Neither is Chris Paul, who's still on the injury report. Not with team. Avaka Zubac. No Zubac. He's got that ankle. He's going to be out for a bit. DJJ, no Derrick Jones Jr. As far as the Blazers, Jeremy Grant is out with his he's got an Achilles. Scoot, we haven't seen him in a while. He's out with his hamstring. No Drew Holiday. He's got that calf. Chris Murray is available. He's probable with a cervical soreness. And Time Lord Robert Williams also probable with his knee. How do we feel about the Clippers and the Blazers?
Yeah, so getting to a ton of Kawhi tonight, 9,200, projected for 50 fantasy points. Just got a question in chat, like, do you prefer Kawhi over Scotty Barnes? And I do prefer Kawhi. I think you can find the extra salad. Yeah, so I do think that he's a very, very good play tonight. I also like James Harden, but I think it's probably in terms of lineup construction a little bit better to play Kawhi. That's just kind of my opinion, but it's close between those two. Don't forget about Shaedon Sharpe here. I think he's a really, really, really strong play. He's currently popping in our first optimal on FanDuel. 7,400 I think is a little bit too cheap for him. So I do think he's super interesting. I don't love this game, but just don't forget about this game because I think that those pieces of like Kawhi, Harden, Sharpe are really, really viable. So this is a pretty good spot for those guys, even though I don't love the game, as a whole.
Question here in chat. Kevin Love, last man in. I know it's a different game, but he's talking about Utah. I can't imagine doing that with all the – I know he's not – with all the power forwards and centers. He's just FanDuel only. I can't imagine playing Kevin Love what is his ceiling, right? If he plays 16 minutes, he might play 0 minutes. That happens sometimes.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine playing him tonight. This slate is very loaded. Like I don't think it's necessary.
It's loaded, and it's most loaded at the bigs. So like, if I'm going to take a chance, I'm more likely to take a chance at a position like the guards or a small forward or something like that. I think the centers are just so strong. Like we talked about, I would play. I would play Luka Garza before I play Kevin Love. As far as like taking shots on some of these big guys. Okay, we have crunch time knocking on the door, Tim. But we need to know. We need you to give me the plums play. Who are you feeling in the plums? Who's breaking the slate?
I am going to go with. I mean, he is kind of popular, but he's not going to be overly chalky. I'm going to go with Colin Gillespie.
All right, going to pivot here to the Crunch Time show in just a second. I do want to remind the people, myself, I will be back later on tonight, 8 o'clock. If you've been waiting for it all week, the Pick Six show. The Pick Six show was delayed. It was not on Wednesday night. We're talking the NFL 9-game slate, which is kind of gross. It's pretty gross. Not sure if you looked at it. Just 9 games. 7-2. Too late? Just too late? What are you doing to me, NFL?
Ooh.
We got to break that up better. And one of the two is the Raiders and the Giants, who both are going to do their best to lose the game. Get excited.
I can't even play the afternoon slate, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, the other one's Philadelphia and Buffalo. So, all right. But yeah, we're going to be on tonight, 8 o'clock. Myself, Rebar, Daigle, talking some Week 17 NFL. So yeah, in an hour and 45 minutes, I'll be back. But crunch time is right now. Let's go ahead. Let's segue to crunch time right this second. What's up, boys? Myself, Taylor, Tim, Roth, looking all festive. Did I miss somebody? My apologies if I did. There's 5 of us. I probably did not say somebody. Kirkwood, Kirkdiese. It's crunch time. Happy Friday. How are things, Roth?
Things are good. You missed the tornadoes on my Christmas sweater, Dean.
Well, I'm not gonna be a creep and zoom in.
You gotta see. Yeah, you see that?
Is that an ugly sweater? Is that borderline ugly sweater?
It's not borderline. It's full-fledged, weather-themed, ugly Christmas sweater. Yeah,
it looked like Atlanta Falcons from afar. I didn't really.
That's what I thought too. Yeah,
it's tough. Yeah. You really got to see it in person to get the full effect. But yeah, it really does look like the Falcons logo. I see that now.
Did you go to one of those ugly sweater parties?
No, I just like this.
Just have one. You're on the ready.
You never know when you need a weather-themed ugly Christmas sweater.
You bought that just to wear it around the house?
Correct.
Crunch time, just to wear it on crunch time today only.
Bought it for this moment.
It looks like the Falcons logo. I swear, like
it really does.
That's what I thought. I thought it was at first.
The same colors too. All right, Tim. Anything else with the boys before you step aside out of here? Get out of here and make way for crunch time. 43 minutes on a Friday night. Anything of note, or shall we just skedaddle?
Let's skedaddle.
That was Tim. I was Dean. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe to turn on those notifications. But stay tuned. Do not go anywhere because you have 42 minutes of crunch time. Taylor Smith, Kirkwood, Roth. It is all yours.
Good stuff as always, Dino and Tim. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. It's crunch time. It's 2 of the sharpest minds in the industry, and we got to start with the fresh looking Kirkdiese. There is no way that is a Supercuts value play of the day. That is gourmet shit up top.
No, it was about a 7-year-old woman in Supercuts who I was grocery shopping, and I would just look to see if there was any line. This was literally Christmas Eve, and they could get right in, and so I did it, and it was that's what it is. Sometimes you get lucky,
So here's the question that I don't understand. Now you've gotten this great cut from the 70-year-old lady. I assume she was charming and lovely. Why don't you just go back to her in a month? Why are you going to roll the dice and risk a complete chop job from somebody?
Because it's exhilarating when you catch it at the right moment. And, if you get like the one that just looks the worst, like there's no way this is going to be okay. You come out of there and you come home and she says, nice cut, nice haircut. It's a feeling you have to have been there in order to understand it.
I think you have to have that hairline to understand. Like, I can't do that. I need this incredible comb over. It's very elaborate. I can't just go get a buzz like you.
I
Man.
took a nap an hour ago too, so my
does
hair
help.
could be
a little texture to
a
it.
little different from something.
Anyways, looking good as always. Taylor Smith in the house, rocking the Lakers hoodie in SoCal, living large, maybe living with a lot of flooding lately. How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's raining right now, which is we're not used to that, but don't mind it every now and then. Good excuse to not leave the house, which I don't do anyway.
You're good at that, yeah.
Yeah.
We got a big slate, man. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, it's good. It's loaded. We got some news. Still waiting on some news, as always, with NBA, but good slate, even on DK, where we don't have the Utah game. Utah, the Coors Field of NBA, on FanDuel only tonight. But yeah, should be a good one. A lot to like.
The Coors Field of NBA. Is this just poor defense and high pace? Is that what creates this?
Yep. Utah can score. They can defend. It's a fun time.
I like that. I think we got to trademark that. You mentioned some news that has broken, some news that we are still waiting to break. Why don't we run through that real quick, catch the people up, and then I'll kick it to Kirkwood for DraftKings point guard, and we'll do that thing that we do.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot of news we're waiting on. We have Embiid perpetually questionable. That's the case again today. Ja Morant and Cedric Coward also questionable for Memphis. Ron Holland for Detroit, so FanDuel only. We had Scotty Barnes get ruled in. We have some Miami news, Bam Adebayo out, being the main one there. So a lot of value with the Heat today. Super high total game with Miami and Atlanta as well. So lots I like in that one. Pirtle out again. Charlotte center value again. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but not a lot to wait on, luckily.
The Embiid news, is this questionable and expected to play, or is this questionable and you don't really have any idea?
Yeah, it's Embiid, so it's legit questionable. Luckily, we know you can just kind of play Drummond if he's out. But yeah, I mean, very hard to tell with Embiid and the Sixers in general.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Kirk, why don't we jump right into it? We like to start on DraftKings. We like to start a point. What do we got?
All right. So there's good plays here all around. So I would say, for me, I like Emmanuel Quickly. I like him the best out of Toronto guys. That's playing Washington, which could be the Fenway Park of the NBA. In the Fenway Park in high heat.
Okay. Wind's blowing out.
Wind's blowing out.
Yeah. All right.
That's what Washington is. But they also have like some good individual defenders, but as a whole, they're terrible. So you kind of have to pivot for the guy, although they all can end up getting there. But my favorite is Quickly because of the defensive matchup. No, he's going to be, Ingram's going to draw their best defender. Scotty Barnes will draw their second best, which will be Kaishan. And then Quickly probably gets what's his name? Old from the CJ McCollum. And so, yeah.
Old.
Yeah. You know how it is.
You've
been age shaming LeBron. These the last show we went on, I think.
He's ancient, but yeah.
Also, who else stayed up like an addict on Christmas Day until 1:00 watching Joker, and going to overtime and just putting up a nice 100 piece for the people, and for the Kirkdiese tag.
Nice.
So I was sweating that, but that's what I did. But anyway, so Quickly, I love. You can play Devin Booker here if you want, but probably play him at shooting guard. New Orleans Pelicans, another one that's a potential Coors Field type of team. Kevin Porter, Memphis is bad too, and Porter Jr. is good, at least from an offensive standpoint. And he's $9K, which is crazy, but he's worth it. Speaking of 9K and crazy, 9,800 is Tyrese Maxey. Now, everyone's kind of full priced here, and if Embiid plays, you probably knock Maxey down a little bit. It's not the biggest bump down, but if Embiid is out, which is very possible, I think Maxey is like the play against Chicago. So I like that. Trae Young has been playing really well. And you're not getting the full minutes experience, but he's been extremely efficient. 50 burgers in his last 2 games. It's Miami. Miami plays at that really high pace. They're also without Bam tonight. So their defense takes a hit, and so I could be convinced to play it. He wouldn't be one of my first like top 2 or 3 plays, but he gets in the mix. Other than that, try to find a cheapie for people. Well, you can. I guess Colin Gillespie would be the guy because of the matchup with New Orleans Pelicans. If you want some cheap, but that's also shooting guard. This Boston game, I kind of like a little bit. No, it's not going to get much play. I think Peyton Pritchard at 6,600, it could be convincing. And then Jordan Goodwin. These are like the out there plays, but for cheaper. Yeah. He could shoot threes. The Pelicans give up a ton at the 3-point line. I could see that working out. But other than that, I'd stick to those top few plays that I mentioned. I'm going to throw one other name out there, and that's Derek White.
Okay. A lot of names. Taylor, by the way, we did get a little bit of news here. It was, I think, Ja and Coward on track to play. And was there anything else that I missed? I think that was pretty much it. Taylor, what are you doing at point?
Yeah, I like the quickly call. I think he does get the best matchup of the Raptors' main usage pieces. 6,400 against the Wizards, like hard to hate that. Maxey, either way, like Chicago, pretty high total game that's kind of flying under the radar. I think Maxey is excellent regardless of Embiid. If he's out, obviously, like smash that at 9,800. But even if he's in, he's probably going to see like 40 minutes. So fine with that either way. I think Davion is okay. No Bam, no Hero. That game with Atlanta has like a 250 total, something like that. Very fast paced for both. So Davion, not the most fun play in general, but I think today's pretty good. Giddy, Trae Young, I think it's very good under 9K. Also, Devin Booker under 9K, pretty good spot for them against the Pelicans. KPJ 9K flat, like Kirk said, like wildly expensive, but the role's been so good without Giannis that I still like it a little bit. One guy I wanted to mention on DK is LaMelo. He's 8K flat. He's been playing like 24 minutes amid his never-ending ankle situation, but pretty good matchup. Orlando without Jalen Suggs, really not that imposing defensively. No Goga either, which is pretty transformative for their defense. So LaMelo at 8K, it's like if you suddenly catch 30 minutes, they've had a few days off. I think for large field tournaments, LaMelo at no ownership is very interesting.
The funny thing is he played 29 minutes like in that game on the 18th, and then they like we got all excited, and then they tapered off back to the 23-24.
Yeah,
I like that call.
Like if you suddenly catch, because I think there was a game he played like mid 30s or something after being limited for a while. And they have had days off. So like suddenly if the game's close and they need him, like, you could catch that in the right situation. So 8K flats is like super cheap for him. Not much else. Anthony Black at 7K is still playable. Andrew Nembhard at 6-1 feels a bit cheap. Don't love the matchup, but not a bad price on him. But yeah, I think that wraps it up.
Okay, let's go to shooting guard.
So no Hero, no Bam. Miami is going to be a very popular source of value. Norm Powell here. Jaquez is 6K flats, guard forward eligible. Even if he doesn't start, like it's Atlanta, it's a high total. Great play, I think. You can play Booker, you can play Gillespie. Desmond Bane's in a pretty good spot. Banchero is going to be pretty popular, I think, tonight. Bane to a lesser extent. So if you want to make that leverage play, playing Bam instead of Banchero, I think that's pretty decent. Good spot for Kobe White. Minutes have been kind of shaky. Like he hasn't really played more than 30 all season, but another team that's had days off. Maybe he gets up there tonight. It is the first half of a back-to-back, I think, for Chicago. So not a great bet to make, but he's cheap enough to where I think it's okay. Trey Murphy, not bad. If you need something on New Orleans, I think it's kind of a complicated spot for them with Zion back, but we have seen the minutes really climb for Murphy in general. Ingram, I think, is playable just because it's Washington. He will get Bilal, I think. So not great, but 7.5 seems a bit cheap for Ingram without Barrett. Keyshawn, I think in tournaments is okay also, 6,400, but probably wraps it up for that.
Okay. Kirkwood, your thoughts at shooting guard?
I have two I love, and I love them. I
Oh.
love Norman Powell tonight in this spot. Again, without Hero and Bam against Atlanta in that 250-point total. You're going to see 30+% usage out of him. It's in that matchup, at that pace. With his minutes, I think he's just going to smash. I also love Devin Booker against the New Orleans Pelicans. I just mentioned him over on the point guard, but this is where you probably play him. Those two, I love. Everyone else is second fiddle to me. I'll say a couple, which is Jaime Jaquez. But again, I prefer Powell there. I'll also say, I think I'm done. I want to say Kobe White, but they might be doing just enough with him. Because he might be on the trade block. I'm hearing rumors about, but so I don't know. That's a guy who interests me. I'm also semi-interested, just like I was at point guard in Derek White. But again, it's all about Powell or Booker. Boom.
Okay, small forward.
Okay, small forward. There's Jaylen Brown enters the mix with his massive usage rate against what could be the Celtics are very rested right now too, and they're not on the front of a back-to-back. I don't think so. You could see a bunch of minutes from Jaylen tonight, and he just attacks the rim at will. Indiana Pacers are a good matchup for him, so I do like him a lot. You can play Norman Powell here. I've heard a lot of talk about Kuzma. I think it's just 5,400. I get it. And it's just he's going to be relying on the three. He's played a little bit better in these last few games, so I do get it. And the minutes have been there. You got 35 minutes in the last game, so I can't really fault you at 5,400. But I'm not sure if he's going to be the guy that's going to get you home tonight. But a guy who might get you home sneakily is Benedict Mathurin. And it's a tough matchup against the Celtics, and he's been playing bad, but the usage is up there, is fine. The minutes are up there. He took 20 shots the other night against Boston, put up just 30 fantasy points. But I think there's a world where he can go off against the Celtics, so I'm going to mention him. I also am fine with Brandon Miller. He's one of my guys that I always tend to play. And Dylan Brooks has just been really solid, so I'll mention him.
Okay. All right, Taylor, nodding in agreement here. Hopefully not with Dylan Brooks, but maybe with Dylan Brooks. Also got some news that Murray Boyles is out. Tasteful Tide said it, so it probably matters, but I don't even know who the hell that is, and he's out.
And they announced him in, and then now.
Oh, okay.
It actually matters because he's kind of the backup center for Toronto, and they don't have Pirtle. So for Mamu, that's good news. Small forward, I do think Jaylen Brown is very valuable. Not a lot of pay-ups on the slate. You have Jalen Johnson, you have Banchero, stuff like that. No Luka or Jokic, anything like that. So people are paying up at power forward. People are paying down at small forward. Small forward is a bad position. And if the cheap chalk at small forward fails, paying up for Jaylen Brown, I think, can be a difference maker. And he's 9,600. We just had this matchup the other day. He was decent. He was still good. Not a great spot, but like Kirk said, they are rested. I think Jaylen Brown is an awesome play at the ownership currently, which is pretty low. If you don't want to do that, you're probably playing Jaquez or Powell. Really hard to punch holes in their cases with the Heat injury news. I think Kuzma's okay. Not ever psyched to play him, especially since he will be popular. But, without Giannis, there is usage to go around for Milwaukee. Dylan Brooks does have a 30% usage rate on the season. So it's not like Houston or late stage Memphis Dylan Brooks we're getting this year. He actually has some sort of upside. So I don't think it's a bad play.
I thought Jalen Green's still, out, and
yeah,
Grayson Allen.
So there's
Grayson Allen
not
out
available for him. Yeah, no Grayson Allen. So Brooks at 6'3" against New Orleans, a pretty bad defensive team, is a pretty good play, I think. Mathurin, similar story. I think up for Brooks. Royce O'Neal's okay. I'd rather play him than Pelle Larson. I think Larson is kind of very questionable chalk. He's been out for a while. He's cheap. Miami's thin, but
And he is starting,
really
to be
good.
fair. Larson is starting.
Yeah, it's a good play. Like, it's fine if you want to do it. I'm just concerned about a very chalky Pelle Larson after injury absence. So fine play. I think it's something you can get away from, though, at ownership.
Yeah. Okay. Take us to power forward.
Yeah, so there's a lot to like. Power forward, I mentioned Mamu for the Raptors. No Pirtle, now no Murray Boyles. And they're playing the Wizards. And centers against the Wizards have kind of smashed for like a decade. So at 5.5, it's getting there on DK, but still too cheap. Very good per minute guy. Minute should be very secure now. Kind of hard to get away from that. Similar with Portis. He's been starting for Milwaukee without Giannis lately. 5,900, high total against Memphis. I think that's a very good chalk play as well. The minutes have been very strong for him since he's been starting. Jalen Johnson and Paolo should be pretty chalky on the high end. The Paolo discount is pretty notable. He's 1,300 cheaper than Jalen Johnson with Trae Young in. We haven't really seen it yet. But I think Young being there does eat into Jalen Johnson's ultimate ceiling. So I think I prefer Paolo without Franz and Suggs. But both great plays. Scotty Barnes, now that he's in against Washington, is fine. Should be pretty low owned compared to Paolo, I would think. I think Paolo could be like double the ownership. So Barnes is a pretty good pick. Sub 6K Wiggins in a very high total game is interesting without Hero and Bam. Mentioned Kuz, mentioned Royce, mentioned Dylan Brooks. Paul George, if Embiid is out, would get a boost also. But yeah, power forward as usual is pretty strong.
Okay. Kirk, you going with your boy? Mama say, and Makusa. What's
Yeah,
your power forward?
I think he's a great play, but I don't know. I'm not stopping with Jalen Johnson. He's literally been the best, highest paying dividend stock in fantasy basketball lately. He's, one game he's been in the 40s in like 11 games. Yes, he got with Trae, like playing a bunch of, he will get a bunch of, more chances at the basket, assists from Trae. His assists may go down a little bit, but they haven't yet, like Taylor said. So he's just, does anyone have any MVP Jalen Johnson tickets in their wallets right now? I think I'm going to buy one after the show. But anyways, the dude is just crushed. So he's my favorite. I do love Sandro. Sandro is going to get a boost now just from a minute standpoint. He was already a good play. It just gives him a little bit more. Paulo, I agree. Bobby Portis, since he's been starting, when he starts, he's been really good lately. And he had 34, 47 fantasy points against Toronto. He played 40 minutes, 39 minutes. He's plus 30 minutes of Bobby Portis at this price is a really good play. So I like him, and those are my favorite. I don't know. You can mess around with like Zion, maybe potentially. Again, you're limited with minutes there from like a true ceiling, but he could be very efficient. Paul George would get a little more interesting if Embiid is out. But I'm about Jalen Johnson, Bobby Portis, and Mama Makusan.
Nailed it. By the way, just check FanDuel. Yeah, you were right there at the end.
Right to the end.
Yeah. We got a ticket for Jalen Johnson to MVP at plus 100,000 right now.
Yeah, let's
good.
buy. We're buying. Buy.
Yeah. Also, Wemby at plus 10,000. The Spurs might be the best team in the NBA. Like they are.
Dude, that was the easiest bet I ever made in my life on Christmas Day. Plus 9.5 points.
Yeah,
against the Thunder, and I should have taken the money line. And
right, like they literally might end up with the best record in the NBA, and he's the best player on the team. He's the best defensive player in the NBA. I feel like that's not a bad MVP ticket at all at plus 10,000.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Anyways, let's see. That was power forward. So, Kirk, you're bringing us to center.
All right. Center. Clawware. I would normally want to get away, but with Bam out, I think it's just too hard, especially with this 250-point total. 6,200 seems like a smash. Diabate with the cock of the walk out again.
Yeah.
4,600 is too cheap. Mark Williams is a little bit interesting. His price is coming down, I think, a little bit, and he's had some like weird scenarios for minutes. So I think he's being under projected from a minutes standpoint, probably everywhere. And so I don't mind that at 5,400. Yeah, I probably won't. I mean, it's not bad Embiid at this price, but I just don't see like massive upside there, obviously, with his minutes still. And he might not even play. If he doesn't play, I think you got to boost Drummond. Becomes a pretty good play. I don't have a ton of love. And I'll throw out that Sar's like a big brain play, like just trying, even with his minutes limit right now in a game that could go berserk. He's always the guy that you want on Washington.
Yeah. Okay. Taylor, your thoughts at center?
Yeah, I think a lot of lineups are going to be Ware and Diabate at center, and util, and it's not the wrong play. Like Diabate is just too cheap without Plumlee and Kalkbrenner. And then Nogoga, I think, makes a big difference for him on the Orlando side. So Diabate is pretty hard to fade, and same with Khalil Ware without Bam in that high total game. Anyone else you play that's center only is going to be very low owned, I think. So that does make someone like Mark Williams a super good tournament play. In that Pelicans matchup, 5-4 is just very cheap for him. So I think that's an awesome tournament play. Kongwu is kind of pricey, but a good spot for him also on the other side of the Miami game. Without Bam, I think he gets a boost. No one's going to play him. Embiid, I agree, is kind of like it's a good spot against Chicago. They just give it up in the paint, but don't know if he's playing. If he does play, don't know if he'll play the whole game. 8-3 is fairly full for this version of Embiid. So I think I'm interested, probably more so in large field, if no one's going to be on that. Portis and Mamu, you're just playing it forward. There's really no reason to play him at center on this slate. Vucevic, minutes have been kind of weird at his spot, especially if he is out. But another large field play. Miles Turner really hasn't gotten there. He is getting cheap. If you want Portis leverage, I think that's the way to do it. It's kind of cute for this slate, I think. But yeah, I think they're like very strong, obvious DK plays.
Yeah. Okay. Very good, gentlemen. We want to make sure that we kick it over to FanDuel, and I want to make sure that the people are getting the very best deal in the industry, because right now, limited time only, we got something for you. $3.99. It's Pick Labs. It's the newest feature. Lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you right there. Edges, win rates, value. Shows you which plays stand out across sportsbooks. Sites like Underdog and Prize Picks included in that. So you know which site to make these bets on, where you can get the value. Pick Labs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice right there in the app. Right now, you can try Pick Labs free for RotoGrinders through December 28th. That means you have today, you have tomorrow, you have Sunday, and then it's stoinked from you. Use it, try it. You're going to love it. Gotten a ton of positive feedback on this. Visit rotogrinders.com/picklabs. You're going to try it, and you're going to be like, wow, this is incredible, and this should have been a thing forever. So I highly recommend you take advantage of it now while it's free, because soon it will not be. Let's go to FanDuel. Already getting some questions over there. Taylor, lead us off at point.
Yeah, so on FanDuel, we have the late games. We have Utah and Detroit, and then the Clippers and Portland. So Cade, we talked about Utah being Coors Field of the NBA. 10-7 is a full price tag on Cade, but again, no Jokic, no Luka, no one like that on this slate. So he's pretty awesome over there, and it doesn't look like he'll be that popular. So if you want to pay up for Cade, I think that's an excellent play. Otherwise, it's kind of the same stuff. Trae Young, 8-4, quite cheap on FanDuel for him. James Harden is 9-3. Portland's defense has been awful since they lost Trae Young or Drew Holiday, and Jeremy Grant's out. So Clippers have looked a little bit better lately. I think Harden and Kawhi on this slate are both very strong plays. I'd probably max one of those two, but 9-3 for Harden's fair. Davion at 5-2, I think is a pretty good value. If you want to go cheaper at point guard, we mentioned no Bam, no Hero for them. Maxey, if Embiid is out, of course, at 10-2, pretty expensive, but ceiling is there for him. Good game total against Chicago. Just a ton to like. Most of the same stuff we saw on DK, but I think Cade is someone I would go out of my way to play on this slate.
Okay. Kirk, point guard.
Yep. Cade is my favorite. Then Harden right below him. I kind of like Shade.
Does everyone's internet suck but me?
On the other side.
All right, you're back. You had a little moment. You had a Taylor-esque moment, but your voice is back.
I froze over here. So.
You did. All right, you're back. You're good.
Okay. All right, Cade, Harden.
Wait, hang on. Wait. Do that again. Do the robot again for me, just to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just want. Okay. Yeah. I need the full robot. Yeah.
It's like a mime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. Point guard on FanDuel. What do you like?
Cade, number 1. Harden, number 2. Shaden Sharp is my number 3. I think he's the ownership will be down to him. I think he's kind of the sneakier play for that game. Devin Booker, I love, but you can play him at shooting guard. I love Emmanuel Quickly. You can play him at point guard or shooting guard. If Embiid ends up getting out, Maxey shoots up for me. I think he's fine anyway. Giddey is always in play. Davion Mitchell for the cheap play with Hero out. As Taylor said, it's never fun with him. Not the sexiest play, but he gets there and can get some defensive stats as well. I'll leave the rest for Taylor.
Okay, but actually he already went, so we're going shooting guard.
Sorry, my bad.
You're all right.
Shooting guard, Norman Powell, small forward eligible as well. Harden, you can play over here. You can play Booker over here. You can play Quickly over here. You can play Jaylen Brown over here, who I like a lot. He's also small forward eligible, so one place. So there's a lot of those are really strong plays. Like Powell's a really strong play. Harden's a really strong play. Devin Booker's a really strong play. Quickly's a really strong play. Brown is a really strong play. Like those plays are awesome. If you want to get like cheaper, I think Asar Thompson could be good against Utah, and I would take a shot on CJ McCollum, but it's like it's really hit or miss, and it's lot more miss, but can get you there and not like no ownership.
Okay, Taylor, your thoughts at shooting guard?
Yeah, kind of just whoever you're not playing at point guard. Harden, Porter Jr., Shaden Sharp, Devin Booker, Quickly. I like the Jaylen Brown thing, like we talked about on DK. I think Dylan Brooks at 6'1", awesome play in that New Orleans game. Probably playing him at small forward, but it's not as dire on FanDuel as it is on DK. I like the Asar Thompson call. Also, if you need someone cheap, I think Jordan Goodwin is okay. Not in love with it, but not bad for 4.6. Gillespie, 66 without Grayson Allen, Jalen Green's fine. But yeah, pretty strong position, shooting guard.
Okay, go to small forward for me.
So, mentioned Harden at 9.3, Kawhi at 9.2, I think is the better play in that Portland matchup. No Jeremy Grant, I think is a big deal for him. Full minutes, Clippers are desperate. Good matchup, pretty much everything you'd want for Kawhi. Jaquez, 5,900 is just very cheap, even off the bench. With Miami's injury situation, should be strong minutes for him. Great total in that game against Atlanta. Norm Powell, we talked about. Scotty Barnes under 9K. Andrew Wiggins, probably a better play on DK, but still okay on FanDuel. Denny Avdia should be fairly low owned. I think I like Kawhi more. I think the field will agree. but Avdia's role with the injuries Portland had is super good, and the Clippers have not been good defensively all year. Banchero is pretty full. Jalen Johnson is 11K, but they're still playable. Obviously, Johnson's going to be lower owned on FanDuel at 11K, but if the game really lives up to the total and shoots out, then you probably need him.
Yeah. Do you get a question from Keith? Is Jaquez a lock on FanDuel?
He's pretty close just because of the positional stuff, and the salary's pretty good. I don't think he's a lock just because you do have more games on FanDuel, but if I was playing one line, I would probably have him.
Yeah. Kirk, you sticking with your boy Powell?
Yes, or Jaquez. Jaquez, that's just a nice price over on FanDuel. And then Kawhi Leonard, he's my favorite of the three, actually. So he would be the one I prioritize the most. And Jalen Johnson is back in the mix. But at 11K on FanDuel, I can probably just pass and just play him on DK. But will be lower owned for what he's done. So that's still kind of could end up working for you. Again, it's the same guys. There's so many of like Jaylen Brown. Denny's like cooled off a little bit, but still been pretty serviceable. And Jeremy Grant out is good. And the guy that I like, just like from an ownership perspective, play is let's play Cade and let's throw Lauri Markkanen in the other side of that lineup, and that's how we play Coors Field.
Yeah, hell yeah. Stack it up. Very good. I believe that brings us to power forward, Kirk.
Yep. Kalal Ware now enters the equation at 7K. It's not, he's cheaper on DraftKings for sure. But you get the power forward or center eligible solid play. Again, you can play Kawhi here. You can play Jaquez here. You can play Denny Avdia here. You can play Jalen Johnson here. You can play all these guys. The same thing. If someone new, I don't really like anyone new. So I'll say Lauri Markkanen again. I think that's going to be my flag plant tonight is Lauri.
Okay. Taylor, your thoughts of power forward? And we do have a bunch of questions coming in I want to get to.
Yeah, no one really knew. I think Portis at 6'1", very strong play also, assuming he's still starting for Milwaukee. Ingram, 8Ks, not great. I think he's a better play on DK, but it's not bad. Like the Markkanen call, should be under 10% owned on this slate in a decent total game. But yeah, nothing else to add. I think Kawhi is just my favorite play here along with Jaquez. Okay,
let's go to the big boys.
Yeah, so paying down at center on FanDuel usually comes with opportunity cost, but today there's not a lot to like on the high end. So I think Sandro at 5K flat. No Murray Boyles, no Pirtle, just a very obvious play. And they're playing the Wizards again, so love that. You can play Ware, you can play Portis at power forward, so I don't really need him here. I think Sandro is just like very obviously the play at center. For tournaments, Duren in that Utah game, Embiid, if he's in, is fine. Not in love with that. Diabate's 5'4", so not as cheap on DK as he is on DK, but minutes should be strong. Good matchup, like we talked about without Goga for Orlando. So Diabate is still playable, just not the priority he is on DK.
Sure. Okay. Kirkdiese, center spot. What do you like?
It's just the same people, and it's Taylor Sutherland. So it's Sandro is up there, but you can play him with Ware at power forward. Nice. And then like the guy Mark Williams is the same, pivot off of those guys for, maybe he's under projected a little bit on both sides. If you want, I think Jalen Duren, you can play against Utah. Yeah, I don't know. I think Taylor got them all.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Guys, we got a bunch of questions coming on in, and we have 7 minutes to get through them. As always, if you're watching on the YouTube, I would kindly request that you hit the thumbs up for us. It is free content after all. And make sure you sign up for, the free goodies that we're giving out as well, because, hey, why wouldn't you do that? Don't be a fool. You're smart. You're already with us. Once we wrap up, the NFL six-pack for Week 17 will be dropping, and then the Pick Six show, which is phenomenal, live tonight at 8 Eastern. A lot of the industry experts say that it is one of the best shows.
I've gotten a lot of DMs that the people want us to do a harmonized Bone Thugs and Harmony song on Crunch Time. That's the three of us. That's what people are saying. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have Taylor lead it off.
Yeah, definitely a good call. I know all of their songs.
Tell me what you gonna do
when I know where to hide.
Just because. Gillespie over Cam Spencer? Question mark from Ramazan Taylor. Gillespie over Cam.
Yeah, Morant and Coward are probably in, so no more Cam Spencer.
Okay. Taylor, back to you from Coleman. Large scale DK GPP pick 2. Drew Smith, Krejci, or Hugo Gonzalez?
Well, Hugo's the only one I think is okay. I think they're all pretty bad on this slate. So maybe do it over. I guess Hugo and Krejci, but they're all not good.
Okay. Kirk, you got any dick love? DK GPP.
All right. This is where I draw the line. This is where I draw the line.
I'm reading the question. He's a player. You got any love?
No, I don't have any love for Grady.
Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Diabate or Mamakuta? Kirkwood.
Mama say, Mama san, Masaku.
Got DK GPP, Taylor Hawkes and Mark Williams, or Cam Spencer and Diabate?
First one, Cam Spencer is not really playable today.
Okay, Taylor, DK GPP, Jalen Johnson and Larson would give me 3 Heat starters, or Boncaro and O'Neal.
Second one, don't really like Pele today.
Okay. DK Cash question with Pele, so maybe this is out. Kirkwood, Jalen Johnson and Pele, or Wiggy Ingram?
No, Pele is definitely fine for cash. I think Taylor probably hates him because of ownership percentage. Is that right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. T-Top says Kuz or Mitchell last piece, Kirkwood?
Mitchell.
Okay, we're dumpster diving, Taylor.
I'm done with Kuz. I'm just like, Kuz is just done.
I still have positive Kuz in my head. I still play that dude all the time, thinking he's still the dude who, I don't know, his high usage. Taylor, is anybody viable at 3K flat on DK? Anybody? 3K.
I don't think so. Quick search. Pretty sure nobody though. No, not today.
No. We got nobody.
Isaac for 3-1 would be the closest, I think.
Okay. Taylor, Sharp or Quickly?
Probably Sharp, but both great.
Okay. Scrolling up in the YouTube, where I'm sure everyone watching has already hit the thumbs up, and we appreciate that. If you haven't, make sure you do. Taylor, your best play at 3,600 and under on DK, McGowan's with Herb Jones, or am I missing something?
36 is pretty rough. Zach Collins for 3-4, I guess, would be okay. McGowan's is starting, so I guess that's fine. It's pretty gross.
Okay. Kirkwood, any Jovic on FanDuel?
Yeah, he could come through for you, I think. I think he's kind of a sneakier play.
Okay. We'll go to Ricky Rose. Is Isaac playable with no Goga?
Yeah, I think he's probably going to start at center. Is that true or no? Or
Carter.
Carter. He'll take Nesmith. He might see a minutes bump.
Okay. Taylor, a couple questions for you. Last man in DK, Tyus or Pele Larson? DK single entry.
I still think Larson, I don't love him, but Tyus has De Silva back, so I think his minutes are kind of less secure. So Larson.
Okay. Javon says Powell or Quickly on FanDuel, Taylor.
I think Powell slightly.
Okay. Kirkwood, Brooks or Wiggy on FanDuel. Happy holidays. Thank you for that.
Let's go Wiggy.
Okay. FanDuel single entry, Norm Powell or Ware, Kirk?
Norm Powell.
Taylor, I need a cash FanDuel power forward at 5,900 or lower, and he's already got Hawkes. 5,900 or lower, cash power forward FanDuel already has Hawkes.
You said power forward?
Yep.
Kuz.
There we go. There we go. Musa Taylor or Mamu? Musa or Mamu?
Mamu.
Single entry, DK GPP rather. Shooting guard at 7,100 or less from Anger Kirkwood. 7,100 or less at shooting guard in a DK GPP. He's already got Powell.
Flex. Shooting guard, you said?
Yep, shooting guard. 7,100 or less.
Has Powell. Okay. I don't like any of them, but if I had to, I mean, Hawk has with 6K would be fine.
Yeah.
Or Desmond Bain, maybe. I don't really love it, but
okay. Let's see. Did I miss any? 5K in the util, Kirk.
Diabate.
Okay. Is Zach Collins' recent game log a scam, Taylor, or is he playable for some salary relief in large field DK tournaments?
Yeah, large field only, but if things go wrong for Vooch, he could see 20-ish minutes, best case. So I think it's fine for large field.
Embiid is in.
Embiid is officially in. Okay. So that means we don't get Drummond, and we could still play Maxey, right? It's
yeah. You could still play him, but
fine.
It'd be a little bit of a boost with him out.
Yeah. Okay. Very good, gentlemen. We have done the things that we came here to do for the most part. It was really highlighted by Kirkdiese's robot, I thought. We're going to bounce on out of here. So for the dancing robot, for Taylor, and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.